Yo, what is up, guys? Vincenzo from home of Milan coming back at you once again. Furthermore, today we got the Napoli win to discuss and also the preview versus Stade Rennes in the Europa League on Thursday. Before we get into it, make sure you guys are checking us out on all of our socials at Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and bunches, all at home of Milan. So without any further ado, guys, let's jump into this. So in last week's video, I predicted a win versus Napoli, and Milan definitely had to grow into this match. Very back and forth, but a whole lot of nothing from Milan up until the first goal. And in the 25th minute, it was a great pass from Leao, and Theo makes an overlapping run into space and beats Golini 1-on-1. And I was watching the CBS halftime review, and Mike Grella said that if you take Theo and Leao out of this Milan team, we're a mediocre side. However, name me one team that would play good without their star players. These guys are our match winners, and Theo and Leao are, of course, our best guys, so we're going to play through them. And Leao has been receiving a lot of criticism recently, and he now has more goals and assists by match day 24 than he did in the 21-22 Scudetto winning season where he won the league MVP. But for some people, this just isn't enough. And like I said in previous videos, I feel like as long as Leao is contributing to goals, whether that's obviously scoring them or assisting or getting those hockey assists that we praise Pulisic for doing, I feel like Leao deserves the same credit. And people expect Leao to be on that level of Mbappe, Vinicius, and Rodrigo. But to be realistic, Leao just isn't there yet. I feel like he can be, and I think he will, but just not right now. He's not at that level yet, but I definitely think he can. Not much happened after the goal, and going into the second half, we were once again wasteful with our chances. And I feel like this is a dead horse I've been beating all season with just us not capitalizing on our great counter-attacking opportunities. And it's been quite apparent that we don't play a good style. And we rely on counter-attacking football, and it's our star players that make the situation look a lot better than it actually is. And we see flashes of us playing well, but there's just no consistency behind it. And I just can't seem to get a grasp of how this Milan team plays. I feel like we go into every match not knowing what to do, and even though we played bad, it seemed like Napoli played even worse, to my pleasant surprise. But towards the tail end of the game, Napoli really started to grow into the match. We started subbing out a lot more attackers for defenders, and Napoli did the complete opposite, taking off defenders, putting in attackers. And it was just us sitting back and defending for our life for the remaining 10 minutes or so. And we stuck through and we kept a clean sheet and we grabbed all 3 points. And I just want to give a special shout out to the defense because I feel like the defense this game in particular played very well. Obviously, Mike Magnon being under some criticisms recently for not, doing well. I feel like he really stepped up in this game. Obviously, Theo contributing to goals and Gabbia with another monster performance. I feel like it's a common theme here that we're always praising Gabbia, for some great big performances. And today, I feel like this was one of them. I feel like Gabbia has definitely cemented his place in this team come next season, whether that's a depth piece or just an option off of the bench or, just a rotation player. I feel like he's definitely that guy. And I feel like, to all of our surprises, he's been our best defender since the new year. And I feel like no one really kind of saw this coming. We kind of just thought he would just slot in and then, make his way out. But he's cemented his place in this team. So Gabbia is here to stay. Here, putting in a solid performance as well. And then Calabria coming off injured, which is kind of a big blow for us. But Florenzi came in and did his little part. And obviously, Giancarlo Simic, we saw him once again, which was nice to see. And also Alex Jimenez, which was also super nice to see as well. So I feel like all of them played their part to cement the 3 points in the end. Let's go to tops and flops. Obviously, I gave my praises to Leao and Gabbia, who, in my opinion, were the best players on the pitch tonight. Um, but I do think that Gabbia did edge Leao just a little bit more. I think keeping the clean sheet definitely helped us, and I feel like Gabbia was one of those main reasons why we kept the clean sheet. So for that reason, I feel like Gabia is going to be my top. And my flop, it's between two players, two midfielders to be specific, which is Benacer and Loftus Cheek. I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt to Benacer just because he hasn't been up to game speed recently. So I feel like Loftus Cheek is gonna be my flop. I feel like he was just off his marker today, and after some positive performances, I just don't like how we were using him as an attacking mid, and I just don't think it complements him because I think he's a box to box, like we all know, and clearly he just suffered. So for that reason, he's gonna be my flop. So let's preview the game versus Stade Rennes in the Europa League on Thursday. Stade Rennes have been on some absolutely tremendous form, winning their last 8 games, not losing, not tying, just all wins. And obviously we're on some great form ourselves, but I do think that this team just isn't one to sleep on. Obviously, French teams kind of give us a little trouble here and there, minus PSG in the San Siro. But regardless, when we played Lille, they absolutely smacked us up. And then obviously, PSG away, they smacked us up as well. So I feel like these French teams aren't to sleep on. So I feel like Rennes, obviously coming into this game with some hot form, I still do think Milan is going to win, but just ever so slightly. So I'm going to say another 1-0. We keep the clean sheet, but we just barely scrape by. Just a little talk in the Europa League now that it's back in the mix. I think our chances of winning the Europa League are good. Obviously, there's still some great teams in the Europa League like Liverpool. Bayer Leverkusen has been absolutely sensational this season. Obviously, just recently beating Bayern Munich to go top of the table in the Bundesliga. In my opinion, Bayer Leverkusen is a top 3 team in Europe right now behind Real Madrid and Manchester City. But that's just what I think. So they're definitely, for me, they're the favorites to win the whole thing. Obviously, West Ham is still in it, and a couple other Premier League teams that are in it as well. But I definitely think that we're in the mix to win it or at least go far. As long as we don't play a team like Liverpool or Bayer Leverkusen, I feel like we could definitely roll the dice and maybe win the Europa League this season. But it's gonna be a lot tougher than a lot of people think, just because there's a lot of big teams that stand in our way. But I definitely do think that we can get to the semifinals for sure. And lastly, just before we go, let's preview our next Serie A game against Monza. Monza are exactly where you would think that they would be in the table, which is 11th place, just smack dab in the middle. And obviously when they came to the San Siro, we beat them 3-0, and we're gonna be away from home in this game. And in Monza's last 5 Serie A games, they've only won once, tied twice, and lost twice. So one win in the last 5 games is not great at all. They're mid-table, so I do think that we're gonna get past them quite easily. Obviously, we're on some great form ourselves, keeping a clean sheet in our last game. I hope that we can kind of continue this great form, and I think Monza is a great team to kind of do so, to kind of capitalize and obviously just build that gap between fourth place and maybe even shortening that gap between second place, because at the time of recording, Juventus still has to play Udinese. Um, so hopefully that by the time that this recording goes out, we're only 1 point behind Juve, and now we can really start to think about getting into that second place spot, because again, I don't think that we're gonna win the league. I just think that Inter are a train that's not gonna stop, unless when we meet in the derby and maybe a couple other games that Inter have to play, they slip up, but I just don't see that happening. Obviously, we thought that they would slip up against Roma, but obviously Inter won against Roma, so it's very difficult for this Inter team to slip up, and I just don't think it's feasible for us to grab the league out of their hands like the time that we won. So, but I do think that we could get second place, which wouldn't be a bad thing that we get second place. That's just a little league rant there, but I think that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. What do you guys think about the Milan game versus Napoli? And what do you guys think about these kits? I think these kits are absolutely beautiful. So I had to cop one myself. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Make sure you guys are following us on all of our socials, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao ragazzi.